This one's gonna make me feel old and is strangely depressing. Which probably sounds funny because this playset is a lot newer than most of the toys that I review. But here's why this one's a gut punch. Say what you will about the Bayverse of Transformers films. The first one I thought was pretty decent and enjoyed it. The second, third, fourth, and fifth I thought were all absolute trash. But I went to see all of them and tried to make the most of them. But the most heartfelt compliment I can give to those movies are that they kind of were the jumping off point for giving me license to start to reminisce, maybe too much, about my past and start exploring the original Transformers line and subsequently start collecting G1 Transformers again. Not all the credit goes to the Transformers movies, but they definitely played a big part in me becoming a collector of pop culture items from the 80s and 90s. So this is depressing because this is a playset that went with a movie that came out at this point a long time ago, back in 2011, which when it came out was a kind of a catalyst for me exploring things that had come out 30 years before that. So wow, I am old. We got product shots for some of the Cyberverse class Dark of the Moon figures. This is obviously the Ark spaceship that crash landed on the moon in the third movie, and it comes with a figure that doesn't have a robot name, but he does have a lunar rover mode. Again, I really thought Dark of the Moon sucked, but I was collecting the toys, and I was always kind of annoyed that they never came out with a respectable toy version of that giant worm thing that Shockwave had. All right, so here is Michael Bay's Ark. By the way, no disrespect to anybody who really liked Dark of the Moon. I just remember being really annoyed hearing that people thought Revenge of the Fallen was like the worst thing they had ever seen. And then for some reason thinking that Dark of the Moon was an improvement. And to me, they're just two interchangeable pieces of shit. All right, so firstly, we'll take a look at the lunar rover transformer that comes with the Ark that doesn't have a name. But it is cool that you get a pack-in figure. It does have decent articulation, although things come misplaced when you move the arms around. And again, it's basically a core class figure, so what can you expect? Actually, I'm not depressed anymore. I'm just kind of annoyed because now I'm remembering how bad some of these toys were. I don't know what it is. Something about the insect-like Bayverse Transformers. Nothing sort of rests where it's supposed to when you transform them. I remember that with the deluxe figures, let alone these little guys. Okay, so nothing is pegged in where it should be, I'm sure, but here's your lunar rover. All right, let's just get started with this. So the Ark, which is a decent design, I kind of like that in the movie. It does have lights and sounds. It takes 2 AA batteries. I think it has quite a few different lights and sounds, but let's begin with this. And let's see if this guy, I think he fits pretty comfortably in here. Okay. Yeah, panel right in here. Cool. And space station mode. These come apart, and when you swing them out, nice. So it's a small playset, but that is pretty cool. And these open up for more play features. This is neat too. It has a bunch of these pillars that flip up, just like the pillars in the film. So I guess that's kind of like a little space bridge. This part pulls down. I'm assuming that's supposed to look like a face, right? I do love kind of the chaotic layout of this with missing panels everywhere, as if we're dealing with a crashed ship here, like in the movie. This lever here activates another noise and lights, and you can also pull it back the other way and launch a other Transformer figures in vehicle mode off of there. When you hit that same button that corresponds to the button on the hull of the ship, you still get those laser sounds, but now this gun lights up and this does rotate. Underneath here, these are spring-loaded doors for what is called a Decepticon prison. This thing that I flipped up is called the repair bay, or repair platform. Also comes with a little robotic arm here that pegs in. Does it peg in? Yeah. And to top it all off, in standard, satisfying playset fashion, you get two firing missiles here that plug right in there. Tons of detail throughout the whole thing, and I love how there are layers underneath here that you can see that add to the overall complexity of what I thought was going to be a much simpler playset. Even back in 2011, I feel like we were kind of bereft of decent playsets in any toy line, so this is kind of a pleasant surprise, with the exception of this thing. The whole playset is kind of worth that gimmick. And that is a quick look at the ARC playset from Dark of the Moon.